everyone. IPOs are a big milestone for startup journeys, and today's news very clearly signifies that. I'm Priya Sheth, and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Daily Dispatch. The companies that I'm going to tell you about today are Freshworks, Pine Labs, and PharmEasy. Well, headline number one, Freshworks, a SaaS-based unicorn, plans to raise close to $1 billion through a public listing in the US. This IPO is likely to value Freshworks at a whopping $9 billion. Now, Freshworks' key investors include Accel, Sequoia Capital India, and Tiger Global. The funds will be used to meet working capital needs, capital expenditures, general corporate purposes, and operating expenses. Well, it's clearly raining IPOs. Reports suggest that fintech company Pine Labs will be converting its Singapore parent company Pine Labs Pte. Into a public company. Its regulatory filings reveal that the company has been renamed Pine Labs Limited. Now in July, Pine Labs had raised as much as $600 million, led by Fidelity Management and Research Company. Well, the final headline of the day, report suggests that online pharmacy platform PharmEasy is in talks to finalize a $200 million primary funding round ahead of its IPO. It is in talks with investors like Blackstone, BlackRock, Mansa Capital, among others. Now, earlier this week, the company also said that it had plans to hire over 200 engineers for the upcoming development centers. Right, then moving on to our second segment, I have with me somebody who is working in the shared mobility space with Yulu Bikes. I have with me Amit Gupta. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Daily Dispatch. I want to begin by asking you about the last 12 months shared mobility or shared means of transport at this point in time amid a pandemic is something that people have been concerned about, and we've seen this across all the ride-hailing apps as well. At Yulu Bikes, how will you differentiate from that, and what has been your experience over the last couple of months?
So, Priya, as you rightly said, that a lot of things have changed, particularly in the mobility side. Many of us who were going to office, we are working from home, and also cut down on travel in general. But this privilege is actually only available to maybe 5% of the citizens. Many of us actually still have to go work in factories, work in shop. We have to do a lot of work. And then we saw our customer base, which was primarily white collar people, and that was starting working from home. So quickly we started moving our services or giving our services to people who were necessarily need to go into their workplace. And we added blue collar workers, gray collar workers, students, so many people who were earlier not doing it. We started doing Yulu. And one big customer segment, what we saw during pandemic was this last mile goods delivery. And when we were sitting at home, we were ordering food, grocery, medicine using our mobile. And all of these services and product need to come to us. So we saw a whole new section of gig workers who actually have lost their jobs. They have not no vehicle of their own. They found Yulu service very, very helpful. And with that, they were able to get back to their livelihood. So we saw that segment also coming up very strongly for us.
So in terms of growth, I wanted to understand what kind of growth have you seen over the last couple of months? If you could give us some indicative percentage in terms of growth.
Certainly. So if I talk about our numbers, just before the pandemic happened, we have grown almost 250 times in terms of our business revenue, fleet size, everything you can think of. More interestingly, we were able to improve even our margin. So our revenue went up by 2.5x, and our margin actually went up by 3x. And that actually happened because of some of the innovation we have done in terms of operational efficiency. So we basically added a good margin on our bottom line.
Right. I also wanted to understand in terms of fleet size expansion, what kind of numbers do you have at this point in time, and what kind of numbers are you working with in terms of expanding both reach across cities and also on the fleet size?
Yeah. So currently, Yulu service is available in 3 cities, which is Bangalore, Delhi, and Bombay. We have 10,000 vehicles across these 3 cities, and majority of them are in Bangalore, just to be clear. Our roadmap for next 12 months, we are looking at approximately 70 to 80,000 vehicles by September 2022. And in terms of the number of cities reach, from 3 cities, we are looking at adding maybe a couple of more cities. So we are going slower on number of cities, but we are going denser wherever we are present.
Right, at this point in time, when you talk about shared mobility, you can rent out a Yulu bike if you want to, but you can't buy a Yulu bike. So, is that something that you are exploring down the line to get into the manufacturing and sales at Yulu bikes?
I don't think so. Manufacturing is easy subject, and we believe that there are so many experts in the country who are actually producing world-class products. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And that's the reason Yulu decided to partner with Bajaj Auto Limited for the manufacturing part. And right now, as we speak, they're in the process of building our third generation miracle product, which we'll see sometime next year on the road. And we are very excited about it. As far as the selling of the vehicles are concerned, once again, we don't think that that's a good value addition. Anyone can do that. But what we are actually willing to do is to give these vehicles to the end consumer on a different ownership model. So rather than selling them, we basically will come up with something very interesting, which will make the products even more affordable, and it will help electric vehicles in the hand of millions of people in the country.
Right. I want to understand in terms of, fundraise about $40 million is what you are in talks with to raise. So when can you expect this fundraise to go through, and what will the funds be really utilized for?
Yeah. So majority of the fund will be used for this expansion I just told you about, and most likely before end of this year, we will make an announcement. So things are underway, and keeping our fingers crossed. So yeah,
In terms of revenue and growth, what kind of targets do you have at the end of FY22? What kind of revenues are you expecting at Yulu?
rather than talking about the FI numbers, because that's kind of complicated because of Corona, and we are also growing very fast. So when we add now approximately 60,000 more vehicles in next 12 months, we are expecting our revenue to become almost 9 to 10x. So from current base of revenue, in next 12 months, we are looking at almost 10x jump in revenue.
Right, you said you did mention that you're looking at more affordable options out there, and I believe targeting the blue collar economy is something that you're also working with. So, when you talk about affordability, how cheap can it get to rent out or Yulu bike?
Yeah. So currently, if you look at Yulu service, we are actually offering one daily pack for approximately 180 rupees. And in this, these users are able to use our service unlimited. So, and if you look at the other option they have got, so for example, a typical gig worker, they are using close to our bike for close to 70 to 80 kilometer on a given day, and they're able to deliver approximately 18 to 20 orders. Now, this 70 to 80 kilometer, if you are doing it on a petrol vehicle, the petrol cost itself is upward of 210 rupees. And then you add the cost of rent of the scooter or EMI or repair and maintenance. We are cheaper than the petrol counterpart by almost 45% today. So that's the advantage number one. Advantage number two is that our vehicle, uh, they don't require driving license. So there are many people in India who have no driving license. And in big cities, you know that the traffic rules and regulations have become very strict. So if you are, trying to ride a two-wheeler without a driving license, most likely the cop will catch you and put up a huge fine. But for Yulu, because our vehicles are legally a bicycle, so you don't need a driving license. And hence, we actually have empowered a very new section of society who is actually underprivileged to become gig worker and improve their livelihood. So that is our actually claim to fame. But even if I forget the driving license part, the petrol cost itself is actually higher than our overall package for the day.
Right. One final question before I let you go. Are you looking at partnering with other food platform aggregators and other delivery services to ensure that you also see growth, considering that you're looking at getting more denser in cities like Bangalore, etc.?
So certainly, we are actually talking to practically every large O2O players, online to offline. Having said that, our end customer remains the delivery person. So these companies which are O2O platform, they are helping us with customer acquisition. And this is a very symbiotic relationship because they also need more and more people to join their platform as a gig worker so that they can grow their business. And they are often recommending Yulu that, okay, you don't have a bike, you can use Yulu, no problem. And from our perspective, we are actually very aligned to make more and more people to join this O2O workforce, and everyone wins in this case.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for sharing all your insights around this topic. Thank you so much for being a part of the Daily Dispatch. Well, time now to wrap up this edition of the Daily Dispatch. I'll catch you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and have a lovely day.